Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Aja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Deva Vanachari Yamuna Deva Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiva Vanachari Yamuna Tiva Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Isopanisad ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Sri Isopanishad Mantra 5. So just a breakdown. We'll change the... So mantras 1, 2, 3, we discussed how to live in harmony with Ishwar, specifically focusing on the Ishavasya principle. Then we started last week with mantra 4. So 4 to 8 is focusing on devotion enables us to see the Lord. So it's discussing about the Supreme Lord and his qualities and how what is the proper consciousness and proper mindset to have to be able to understand the Supreme Lord and see the Supreme Lord. And then mantras 9 to 11, we're going to cover correct and incorrect knowledge of understanding Ishwar. 12 to 14, correct and incorrect worship of Ishwar. And then 15 to 19, prayers of longing for Ishwar to reveal himself. Hare Krishna, welcome. So just recap, some revision. List and explain 3 types of evidence that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the introduction. Not you. All right. Okay, anyone else? 3 types of evidence. No. What do you use to learn from others? Huh? What do you call your ears? What else? Your eyes. So to acquire knowledge with senses is called? And in Sanskrit? Pratyaksha. I definitely have short-term memory. Anuman, inference or logic. So we use logic or inference to understand. So first is pratyaksha. We use our senses to acquire knowledge, ears, eyes, etc. Then we use logic to understand, different types of inference or logic. And the last one, which is the most important, yes, scriptures, Shabda Praman, hearing, sound vibration, transcendental sound vibration. Okay. So remember these points, all the points the Prabhupada mentioned in the purport is for us to memorize. And the best way to memorize is repetition. Repetition. So we have to keep repeating. And we may not repeat in class, but at least on your own, it's important to try to remember these things. Because if you remember them and make them part of your repertoire of Krishna conscious understanding, then it can help you in preaching. When you're speaking to people, and you want to bring some Krishna consciousness into the subject, you can speak about these points. Or, as we grow in our Krishna consciousness, the more we learn Krishna consciousness, the more we grow. So this life, next life, future lives, if you remember these things, at least in your future lives, you'll just come up like that. You won't have to go through the process of memorizing because it's already part of your psyche. So it's important to, at least these basic points. There are many, Krishna consciousness is vast, but at least these points. Explain the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master. In the introduction, Prabhupada talks about bona fide spiritual master. So he comes in disciplic succession, he hears from the proper source. That's the first qualification. And Prabhupada says he knows Brahman, he knows the truth. If he doesn't know the truth, he cannot be a spiritual master. Krishna is complete if he is not less than his creation. What point does Srila Prabhupada establish from this premise? Krishna is complete, he is not less than his creation. What's the main point that Prabhupada is establishing here? Which is extremely important and related to the verses we're covering from 4 to 8. Lyndon? So that's in relation to 2. We're covering 3 now. So in relation to 2, yes, the Vedas is like the mother, Krishna is the father. So from the Vedas we get knowledge of the father given by the spiritual master. So in relation to 3, Krishna is complete. So even if you cannot remember, because certain things in Krishna consciousness don't need to remember, you just have to use some logic. Yeah. Okay, let's try. Okay, so so that's another aspect. For him to be complete, he has to be incomplete. But in this case, Krishna is complete. Then Prabhupada says he's not less than his creation. So if Krishna is complete and everything comes from him, and his creation is not less than him, then what does that tell us about Krishna? Okay, so he's the greatest. Okay, let's look at the creation. What do we find in creation? What amazing things do we find in creation? Do we find personal Brahman in creation? Like, okay, look, okay, let's let's bring it, okay, very good. Let's bring it down to reality here. What do you see here? Do you see impersonal Brahman here? No. So there's no, right? Uh, right. So you see material elements, you see variety. So if there's variety here, okay, let's just keep it to the room a little more. So there's variety. There's red, there's white, there's black, there's different features, there's variety. So if there's variety in Krishna's creation, which comes from him, and he's complete, what does that imply about him? He has to have variety, right? He has to have variety of forms. He has variety in the spiritual world. If he doesn't have variety, and the source or the byproducts have variety, what does it tell us? Besides byproducts are superior. Yeah, that means there's something wrong with that logic. Like, mothers get a child. When a child's born, right, they look like tigers. Or they look like trees. What do they look like? Human mothers give birth to human children. Okay? It's very rare, can happen, but extremely rare for mothers to give birth to any other species. Okay? Because it's not logical. Not that it cannot happen, but it's not logical. So similarly, Krishna is giving birth, so to speak, to creation. Therefore, the creation, which is a child of the Supreme, has to have the features of the Supreme. Okay? So another aspect, so you talked about variety, what else? Which is like the most important. And I guess in one sense, we take it for granted. Because we read Prabhupada books, Prabhupada told us, and we take it and we're happy. But there are people who completely miss this point. And because they miss this point, they miss Krishna altogether. They practically destroy their spiritual life. No, you know the point. That's why it's so that you all know the point. That's why it's so trivial that it's not like a point. Everything belongs to Krishna? Okay, let me tell you. So, so you talked about variety. The other thing you see in this world is form. And because there's form here, what does it imply? Krishna has to have a form. So if somebody says God is formless, it has no logical foundation. See? Oh, you got a nice baby here? Yeah, baby is formless. It's like, yeah. Or the baby's invisible. Yeah, I got a nice baby. It's like, totally invisible baby. How are you going to get an invisible baby? You're not invisible. How are you going to get an invisible baby? You're not formless. How are you going to get a formless baby? Right? So the material creation is not formless. How is Krishna going to be formless? But does he have a aspect that is formless? Yes. Okay, because there are even aspects in creation that can be impersonal. Okay? And then finally, another aspect is, do we have relationships here? So what does it mean there? There has to be relationships. Okay, so this is what Prabhupada is talking about. Krishna is complete. He is not less than his creation. He's greater than his creation, which means, does he have variety? Yes. Why? Because Krishna exists, because creation has it. Does he have form? Yes. Does he have relationships? Yes. But it says he is greater. Therefore, he's got greater form, greater relationships, greater variety. Okay. For example, his form is greater, which means he can do any function with any part of his body. You can only eat with your mouth, he can eat with his eyes. That's what makes his form greater.
Also part of the impersonal Brahman. How does that?
No, Krishna is not part of the impersonal Brahman.
Like that's part
The
of
Brahman
yeah.
is his effulgence. Yes.
So if that's part of his effulgence, how can we relate to that if it's part and parcel of? How do we identify with that aspect of ourselves?
So so the spirit soul is also effulgent. If you take hundreds of suns rising at the same time, is the effulgence of the spirit soul. But right now, it's covered, so there's no effulgence. So you can't relate with the effulgence right now. But as you practice Krishna consciousness, you will find that there'll be an effulgence that start to emanate.
Those people
Okay.
read auras. When we see a very spiritual person, we see the
Yeah, but besides aura, you can see an effulgence. So that's similar to Krishna. The reflection of the so they say the sun, I think it's the sun, is also a manifestation of the energy of Brahman. Okay, so different ways like that. The Brahman obviously is the energy that's permeating all over, but generally only the impersonalists are able to focus on Brahman. We don't focus so much on Brahman because Brahman realization is the first level of understanding. Prabhupada, takes us right to Bhagavan. We don't even focus on Paramatma, like the yogis. We go right to personality of Godhead. So when a new devotee comes, we just say Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. That's what we tell. We don't tell him about Brahma. We don't tell him, we immediately introduce him as Brahman, as a Bhagavan. And then obviously he begins to understand different features of Krishna. But as devotees, our focus is Bhagavan.
people in the airport, Srila Prabhupada said, "Look at that man, he's shining."
Yeah, so that's the effulgence. That's the spiritual Shakti that's there. Okay, if everything belongs to Krishna, can you take someone else's belonging without their permission? Explain. So can you take someone else's belonging? Right. So you can't take anything that belongs to anyone, even though everything belongs to Krishna, because it's their quota. Right? Krishna has given it to them for caretaking. So the children that we get, the property we get, the Lakshmi we get, right? It belongs to Lakshmi Devi, belongs to Narayan. But Krishna is giving us the energies for caretaking. So that's the consciousness. Explain one's quota as discussed in Mantra 1. Right. We should not fight like cats and dogs because that is the quota of cats and dogs. Right? It's not the quota of human beings. Not the quota. Right. Quota for human beings. Only take prasad. Vegetarianism is not the quota for human beings. Okay. Oh, I'm vegetarian. Sorry, even pigeons and monkeys are vegetarian. No big deal.
Yeah.
Well, Kali Yuga, any entities, they're a little distorted. Yeah. Another one. Quota.
I should not take more than
Yeah, so that's in terms of one's quota, but still in Prabhupada uses right. So yes, so the cows, their quota is milk, right? They eat grass, they give us milk. So grass is for the cow, and the cow gives milk for us. not for her. Okay, so her quota is not the milk, her quota is the grass. Okay. If one acts as described in mantra 1, what is the benefit as described in mantra 2? Okay, so mantra 1 was the Ishavasa principle. Mantra 2 is describing if you follow Ishavasa principles, you can live for thousands of years like that. If a worker is employed to build, then why should he not claim proprietorship of the building? Because material is not his. Similarly, we do things in this creation, in this material world. We put things together and we sell. We claim proprietorship. That's not proper. Because even if we take the resources of nature and put it together, it belongs to Krishna. Explain the word Atma, Hana.
No. So I think you're not living according to this dog saying.
Right. So anyone who does not practice spiritual life is basically killing himself. Okay, Atma, Hana. All right, today's verse, mantra 5. Tad e jati tanne jati. Tad dure tadvantike. Tad antar asya sarvasya. Taddu sarvasya bhayata. Tad e jati tanne jati. Taddure tadvantike. Tad antar asya sarvasya. Taddu sarvas yasya bhayata. Tad e jati tanne jati. Taddure tadvantike. Tad antar asya sarvasya. Taddu sarvas yasya bhayata. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. So in this verse, we see apparent contradictions. If you're walking, then you cannot say, I'm not walking. If you're far away, you can't say, I'm near. It's either one, right? Yes, possibly. Right. Uh, and to prove that, okay, then we'll get your body to eat and not you. And you can't say I ate. Okay, so that's true. It seems like there's apparent contradictions, but these are paradoxes, not contradictions. Okay? And paradoxes are opposites that can be reconciled in the Supreme. And we're going to talk about it. Now, Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was lecturing on this verse, in a lecture, Prabhupada remembered how his son, when Prabhupada was a Grihastha, and his second son, who was 4 years old, was walking with him. And the son asked Srila Prabhupada, why is it was the sun or moon, why is the sun walking with us? Now, is the sun walking? No, it's really stationary. Okay, but wherever you go, what happens? The sun goes. So Prabhupada's son noticed that wherever I walk, the sun is like following me. And it's true. Sometimes you notice if you're driving, you'll see, the sun is it's like following you. Or when you're flying. So it seems like the sun is following. Similarly, Krishna, he doesn't walk, but he can also walk. And these contradictions can be answered according to one's perspective. So we're going to cover Prabhupada's purport. So the first point that Prabhupada establishes, which this verse is establishing. Okay? If somebody just looks at this verse, they'll say, no, it doesn't make sense. Something's wrong here. I think they made a mistake. Supreme Lord either walks or doesn't. No, something's wrong. No, nothing is wrong with the verse. The verse is absolute. So if that is true, then that implies that the logic you're using to see the verse needs to be coded or different or transformed or cleansed. You need to see through a different framework of logic to understand that. Okay? And the first framework you need to see this point, Prabhupada establishes first in the paragraph. First paragraph, Prabhupada says, Ishwar is inconceivable. So if you read that, okay, doesn't make sense, right? Correct. Why? Because God is inconceivable. You can't understand it, right? Correct. Why? Because God cannot be understood. So that's the first point. Krishna is inconceivable. You cannot conceive Krishna. He's so vast, so unlimited, and so contradictory that you cannot comprehend him. Okay? Not that you can't understand or know Krishna, but the first point Prabhupada is saying is we should know that Krishna is inconceivable. Question?
Similar to our mind, like our consciousness, maybe sitting here, but our mind can be somewhere else. It's inconceivable. Is it similar like that? Where we,
No.
I'm like to try to explain Kami or non-devotee this verse.
No. So remember, now what you're doing now is what most people will do is they'll take this verse and they will now apply this verse with their senses and mind and say, okay, can I also do this? Okay, my mind can go far, but my mind is not moving, right? So what you're doing is you're applying Krishna's qualities on you and trying to now understand whether that's applicable. Okay, not that way, because you'll find that there will be certain shortcomings. Okay, so we're going to cover those points. Let's first establish. One is inconceivable. Because Krishna has, Prabhupada says, the contradictions given here prove the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. He walks and he does not walk. Ordinarily, if you can walk, it is illogical to say he cannot walk. But in reference to God, such a contradiction simply serves to indicate his inconceivable power. So this is what we need to understand. This is like the sutra. The sutra is you cannot understand Krishna completely because he has inconceivable energies. If you can understand God completely, then how does he have inconceivable energies? Because inconceivable means you cannot understand. Inconceivable. I can't conceptualize, I can't conceive. Okay, so inconceivable. You cannot know Krishna. Krishna cannot know his unlimitedness. He gets bewildered. If he gets bewildered about his own potencies, then, I know God. Something's wrong with you. Because God himself can know how powerful he is. How can you know? Okay? We can get a glimpse of Krishna's potencies, but we cannot understand the Lord completely. Okay? So Krishna he's inconceivable, but he has inconceivable potencies. If he has inconceivable potencies, that also implies, can he do anything? Yeah, he can do anything and he can do everything. Can he do things that you cannot even conceive of? Yes. Can he do things that you can conceive of? Yes. Can he do something that you can conceive of and then do the opposite thing of what you conceived of to make it inconceivable? Yes. He can do anything. Like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would debate. Then he would, he would make a statement and he would tell his opponent, you please defeat the statement. And the opponent will try and says, no, you cannot defeat this statement. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, no, you can. And Lord Chaitanya would defeat the statement. Okay? And the opponent will be totally amazed. Wow, far out. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will say, now refute my statements. Now the opponent will think, but you just established your statement. How can you defeat it? It's impossible. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would defeat his own logic. And his opponent would be totally bewildered. Now it's like, first he was already bewildered. Now he's going to a realm of like, there is no bewilderment to this bewilderment. It's like, I can't exist in this. How is this possible? Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell him again, now re-establish my first point. And he'll say, well, excuse me. It's like, prove that the tablecloth is black. And you'll say, sorry. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he'll prove to you that the tablecloth is black. And you'll think, wow. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will say, now prove it's white. Now you'll be totally baffled, but you just prove it's black. So no, what prove is? You can't. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prove it's white. It's white now. Or it's white. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, now prove it's black again. And this is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became, he was the most expert scholar because of inconceivable potencies. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives in relation to this, that even yogis, magicians, ordinary souls in the material world have potencies that are in a category of inconceivable. And he gives the story of how one king invited a magician to entertain him. So this magician came into his courtyard and started presenting his magical acts. And the king had presented him with different gifts. So he took the garments that he received and he told the king, now, my dear king, these garments that I have, you will not get. Then he made them disappear. Then he took the jewels and he said the same thing, my king, my dear king, these jewels that you're giving me, you will not get. And he took the gold coins and did the same thing. So whatever the king gave him, he just disappeared them in front of the king. Then he told the king that even your family members will fight against each other. So the king's children, grandchildren, family members, in front of the king, they started fighting and they started killing each other right in front of the king. And they all started leaving their bodies right in front of the king. So all the jewelry, even the horses or elephants, about 70,000 horses that were there, the magician made them disappear. So all the jewelry that was there, all the garments that was given disappeared. The elephants, horses disappeared. All the family members of the king disappeared or killed. And then the yogi said, so now, my dear king, there's no reason for me to live. So he sits in a yogic position and he burns himself. And the wives of the magician comes into the court, into the arena, and they walk into the fire of the yogi and they burn themselves. And here the king is looking at this and he doesn't know what to do. Because this is happening right in front of his eyes. Like people are dying in front of his eyes. It's like, and so he doesn't know if is it magic, is it what, like, and he doesn't want to stop it because the magician is there. But now, everyone's dead. Magician is gone. Wives are killed, and the king's totally is like he bewildered and lamenting now. A few days pass, and the magician appears in his village, a few kilometers away, with his family, and everything is normal. And the magician then sends his daughter to the king with all the things that the king had given, including the family members. And the daughter comes and says, my dear king, hope you were happy with the entertainment, and here's everything you have given me. You can please give me an appropriate reward that you want to give. So if a magician can do this, which is like inconceivable, what to talk about the Supreme Lord? Krishna has inconceivable energies. Yes.
So is it only by Krishna's mercy, by Supreme Lord's mercy, that we can have some conception of him?
Correct.
But in a specific, like power, specific mood only, as we see in Golok, like Parishura has her mood, she doesn't understand him with anything else.
Correct. So Krishna will not confuse you. Right? Krishna will reveal himself according to your nature, according to your relationship. And that's how Krishna will relate to every devotee. And you're correct, only by Krishna's mercy. That's why Prabhupada says, if you know Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you got Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, it's impossible. Okay. Then the next point that Prabhupada is going to establish, it's in relation to inconceivable but logic. So let's just see those those in the center. How many numbers can you see? Few. 6, 8, 4, 9, 2, 4, 1, 0. There's a 7. You can see a 7. Huh? Upside down. Right. So upside down 7 is there, right? One number that you didn't call. 3 is there in the center. 8 is there. Right. 5. Now, can you see a 5?
Yes.
Huh?
No.
Yeah.
So there's no 5, right? But if you take the 8, can you make a 5? But that 5 is close to a S. Right? So how come you didn't call a 5? You call all the numbers, but you didn't call the 5, even though you could see, okay, 8, 3, and a S, which could be a 5. But logic told you that, hold on, 5 and S is not logically correct, because a 5 is got straight lines, S is curved. So you are using your logic, right? And you're looking at the picture and say, okay, 6, right? Logically, 6 looks like that. But then 5 never came into the picture because I didn't look. If I told you, okay, please find an S. So, okay, I need to look for, you know what S looks like. Logically, you're going to try to now apply an S on there, and it'll fit. So using logic, and you're solving this problem. Most people want to use logic and solve the puzzle of understanding Krishna. Krishna cannot be understood by logic. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that Krishna, he falls in the category of translogic, translogical. So you get illogical Okay? You get logical and you get translogical. Illogical is like this. One person, he came to Prabhupada and he told Prabhupada, I'm God. Prabhupada responded, I'm Queen of England. Yeah. It's like, I'm God, I'm Queen of England. It's like, yeah, come on. It's like, that's totally illogical. It's ridiculous. Right? So Prabhupada responded with a ridiculous, illogical response. Because it does not make sense. Another person in the crowd probably is talking about the material world, the suffering, etc., hard struggle for existence, any questions. So one person in the crowd says, he mumbles something. So Prabhupada couldn't hear, so the devotee responded to Prabhupada what the person said. So the devotee said, Prabhupada, he's saying that he's not suffering and he's happy. And Prabhupada immediately said, yeah, because he's a madman. Any other questions? Because it's not logical. You cannot say, I'm not suffering. That means you are mad. Because everyone in this material world suffers. Different forms, but definitely everybody suffers to some degree or other. And Prabhupada, even when he said, yeah, the person is madman, and we're not interested in speaking to mad people. So next question. He didn't entertain the person. Right? Because we're speaking to people who are intelligent. We don't want to waste time with people who are crazy. Right? They fall in different category. Give them prasad. Let them be happy. So if somebody tells you, yeah, I'm happy, I'm not suffering, right? Don't give them philosophy. Don't sell them a book. Right? Sell them prasad. Give them prasad, tell them very good. Be happy, enjoy. Yeah. And somebody who said, I'm suffering, I've got so many problems, I don't know what to do. Yeah, read a book. Okay? Yeah, question.
Also, I know people going back to first of all, so when we get the books and we say, okay, I don't want to suffer anymore, and we read it out the way out. But then as we read and then we get to others and we get to understand and stuff like that, the suffering that they in the spiritual world that Krishna was amongst the devotees for his pleasure for
Yes.
How do we or how can one understand it from logically, illogically or translogically? How does one to conceive of it, because one knows that even if I do go to the spiritual world, I'm going to have some suffering separation.
Right. So don't superimpose your experience of suffering in the material world on the Lord. It should be the other way around. Okay. See, we superimposing our logic onto the puzzle. Okay? And that puzzle could be Krishna. That's the wrong thing to do. Because logic, Krishna is beyond logic. He transcends logic. So therefore, you have to understand it from the spiritual world to us. The suffering so that way, the suffering there, perverted reflection, suffering here. Perverted reflection. We getting the perverted reflection of suffering. Right? The perfection of suffering is that suffering in the spiritual world, right, gives you bliss. And bliss in the spiritual world gives you bliss. The perverted reflection of the suffering in the material world is all suffering in the material world gives you suffering. And even the happiness, suffering. That's a perverted reflection. Yeah. So in the spiritual, it seems like they're suffering, but they're actually in bliss. There is no suffering in the spiritual world. Okay? All right. So another example of logic. I got a father. Correct? My father has a father. His father? His father? His father? Krishna is the father. Krishna is the father, right? So a lot of people, when they talk about creation, I'm created because I got a father. So, father created me. right? And they want to take that logic to Krishna. No, you cannot take that logic to Krishna. Yeah, seed giving. Pita Prita. I am the seed giving father of all. So Krishna is trans-logical, means he transcends logic. You can't take logic from material realm and put it onto Krishna. You'll get more confused. It will not work. Now, most people can't even accept that point. No, why it works here, it must work there. No. We're not saying it because we want to, let's say, bend the rules and suit our understanding. Sri Shopanishad is saying it. See? Because this is building blocks. And we're taking those building blocks and making it part of our understanding so that we can enter into Krishna's understanding. Otherwise, you'll never be able to understand Krishna. Okay. Now, Prabhupada continues with his inconceivable potencies. With our limited fund of knowledge, we cannot accommodate such contradictions, and therefore, we conceive of the Lord in terms of our limited powers of understanding. For example, the impersonal philosophers of the Mayavadi school accept only the Lord's impersonal activities and reject his personal feature. But the members of the Bhagavad school, adopting the perfect conception of the Lord, accept his inconceivable potencies and thus understand that he is both personal and impersonal. Okay, so if we accept Krishna's inconceivable potencies, we can accept both personal and impersonal.
Does that mean like personal way that gives you the ability to remember and personal way gives you the ability to get it?
No. Personal in the sense that Krishna has a personality, and impersonal in the sense of Brahman, impersonal feature. Yeah. So God is a person and he exists. We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see God with our eyes, the Lord has no personal existence. Shri Shopanishad refutes this argument by declaring that the Lord is far away but very near also. So if he's far away, like many things are far away, Durban is far away. Can we see Durban from now? Like I'm talking about now. From here, if you look, just go out and check if you can see Durban. So you can't see because the limitations of your sight. So Krishna is so far away, he's in Goloka Vrindavan, you can't see him. Okay? But somebody may say, yeah, but he doesn't even exist. That's why you can't see him. Because you saying it's far away, but he doesn't exist. Therefore, I can't prove that he exists. It may not be that he's far away because he doesn't exist. See? People be thinking we're just using this point to cover up that fact. So then Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada is establishing, doesn't mean that because God is far away, you can't see him. Because not only is he far away, he's very near. Now, if something is very near, like these chairs are near, right? We can see them. Your your clothes are near, you can see them. So Krishna is near. How near? He's right next to you. He is more nearer than anyone who even embraces you. See, he's right inside, right next to you. That's how close he is. So he's so close to you, and you can see him if you follow this verse of Sri Shopanishad. That's how close Krishna is for us to see him. Now, even though he's so close, we can't see him still. Not because he's not there, Okay, it's just because you haven't achieved the proper consciousness to see him. So it's not that he's far, you can't see him, because he's near, you can't even see him. So therefore, God does exist. Now, we can just use some logic and, understand that God exists. I normally like to give the example. So if you take just within this room, take every single thing you can see, the tiniest thing. Okay? Take this chair. It came into existence, right? It exists. How did it exist? Somebody created it. Okay, this table exists. How does it exist? Somebody made it. This computer? Somebody made it. This mridanga? Somebody made it. The cartel? Somebody made it. The microphone? Someone made it. The cotton thread? Someone made it. The bottle? Someone made it. The water? Someone made it. Now you'll find most people who are illogical, you go everything. And sometimes they don't get it, so go a little more. Because they really don't get it. Right? Like it's like obvious, this year made. What? Some inside? Water? Nobody made it. Hold on. If everything you see is made, including the bottle, this plastic, somebody made, right? Or machine made. Somebody made the machine made it, right? This cap, the color scheme, the shape of the bottle, what's inside? Nobody. Oh, what do you mean nobody made the water? No, it just exists. Do you ever find in your experience things just exist? Or they'll say, no, Big Bang. Okay, so everything here came by order, by intelligence, by design, by someone besides the water. It's called illogical. Then you can take a little further if somebody does say, Big Bang or, okay. So everything that you find here is made by someone who's intelligent, right? And they'll say, yes. What's more important, the bottle or the water? Can you survive without the bottle? Can you survive without the water? So what's more important? Water. So if the water is more important, then how come the water is not designed by an intelligent person? That person was so intelligent, they took hydrogen, they took oxygen, they made into water. So they have to be intelligent. They know they have to take H2O, 2 products of hydrogen to 1 product of oxygen. So just by logic, we can accept that there is a creator. There is somebody who made water, who made plants, who made mountains, who made this machine that makes machines. We're designing robots to make robots. Krishna has already made this machine that makes machines. Okay, a machine that can think. So that person who made the water, we can call him creator, God, the universe, all powerful, whatever you want to call him. We call him Krishna. And that is God, source of everything. So that person exists. And Shri Isopanisad is talking about his qualities, his characteristics. Okay. The Lord is not subject to our limitations. Pam, read.
Yet when the personality of Godhead comes before us, we neglect him. Such foolish negligence is condemned by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says that the foolish delight him, considering him. He is not a mortal being, nor does he come before us, body produced of material nature. There are many so-called scholars who contend that the Lord descended in the body of myself, just like the body of not knowing the inconceivable power. Such foolish men place the Lord on the level of the ordinary man.
So Prabhupada previously established God exists. and you can see him. Then Prabhupada says, and when he comes personally, then fools deride him. Okay, so this is the first point. And then Prabhupada says that he is not a mortal being, nor does he come before us with a body produced of material nature. He is inconceivable. He's made of spiritual energy, and Krishna's body is not material. There are many so-called scholars who contend that the Lord descends in a body made of matter, just like an ordinary living being, not knowing his inconceivable power. Such foolish men place the Lord on equal level with ordinary men. So here Prabhupada is establishing that Krishna is not limited and is not bound by matter. We have experience of matter because we're in the material world. We have material mind, material consciousness, material body, material environment. Therefore, our perceptions, our understanding is all filtered materially. Krishna is beyond matter. Krishna does not come in contact with material energy. Lord Shiva comes in contact with material energy. So Krishna never touches material energy. Krishna is not made of anything material. He's made of spirit. Now, scientists, they have this understanding also that you get matter and you get antimatter. So matter is what everybody is seeing. And the scientists also accept that there's another aspect of energy, which is called antimatter. Because there are characteristics that don't behave according to matter. Therefore, they put that into the category of antimatter. So Krishna, everything about him is coming from that level of antimatter, of spirit.
Kind of thing. So obviously Arjuna came down on behalf of us to ask the questions that would help us out. So it says there that the 9 level that who derides impersonality of personality. Arjuna, as far as I understand, he did not know Krishna was the supreme personality of Godhead until he showed his Gita form on the battlefield. So the Arjuna like foolish like from our side to show how we are, but we do not understand Krishna as God and he's right close to us. So how does that?
Right. So remember, if you take the whole series of chapters in Bhagavad Gita and you take Arjuna's questions, Arjuna's understanding and Krishna's reply, then Arjuna is representing us. And all the questions we need to ask, Arjuna is asking on our behalf, and the replies that Krishna is giving is for us. And if we apply the response that Krishna is giving in our life, we will go through Arjuna's same experiences in understanding Krishna or not understanding Krishna. And then finally, Krishna at a certain point will reveal himself according to our relationship, which is what Krishna is doing in 11th chapter. And then finally, through devotional service, Krishna will completely reveal himself when we totally surrender. So Arjuna is at different stages experiencing different things, which the living entities will also experience as they surrender more and more to Krishna. So it's not in isolation. Yeah, it's not one part of, oh, how come Arjuna is acting like this? It's because of a sequence of events, right? And Krishna is teaching different things through the Bhagavad Gita. But Arjuna is playing the role. Whether he's bewildered, not bewildered, asking questions, not asking questions, asking dumb questions, asking contradictory questions, or arguing with Krishna, he's actually under a drama for us. The whole Mahabharata and the whole Bhagavad Gita is basically a perfect dramatical performance to present to us all the lessons.
Like from my understanding, I think Arjuna, from what I understand, Arjuna started understanding that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead once Krishna showed his Vita form. It's like you are my friend, but I never understand how superior you were.
So yes, so remember Krishna is, for example, in the 11th, Krishna is talking about his opulence in chapter 10. Then Krishna shows him the opulences. Krishna told Arjuna, I killed all the soldiers. So Arjuna wanted to see that also. So he showed him the universal form, the Kala Shakti, the time aspect. So in different ways, yeah, Krishna is presenting, but it's not that Arjuna is asking because of him. He's asking for on behalf of us or other living entities, not just me, because I may already know some aspects of Krishna, right? So not everything that Arjuna is asking may be relevant to me. Like you'll see, for example, Prabhupada would say, will say Arjuna is asking, about the demigods because they may be demigod worshippers. Arjuna is asking because they may be Vedantists, they may be impersonalists, they may be, mixed devotees, they may be demigods. So Arjuna is asking questions for everyone, and each one will be on a different frame, but they'll be able to relate. Because remember, we only catch things we have to catch. We don't catch everything, right? So when Arjuna is saying certain things, I like that, because that resonates, and I catch that, and that's what then brings me. Okay, so that's how, if we studying Bhagavad Gita, we catch everything. But in terms of growth, we will catch and resonate with things that are specific to us. Okay? God is a person. Okay, Sham, read.
He is full of inconceivable potency. God can accept our service in any sort of need, and he can convert his different potencies according to his own will. Non-believers argue that either the Lord cannot incarnate himself at all, or that if he does, he descends in a form of material energy. These arguments are nullified if we accept the existence of the Lord's inconceivable potency. Then we will understand that even if the Lord appears before us in the form of material energy, it is quite possible for him to convert this energy into spiritual energy. Since the source of the energies is one and the same, the energies can be utilized according to the will of their source. For example, the Lord can appear in the form of the Archa Vigraha, a deity supposedly made of earth, stone, or wood. Deity forms, although engraved from wood, stone, or other matter, are not idols as the iconoclasts contend.
So Prabhupada establishes God can come and is a person and he doesn't have a material form. Then Prabhupada now goes into another aspect, that because of his inconceivable energies, Krishna can appear in any medium, any form to accept service. He's got inconceivable potencies. So he can do anything. If it means he can do anything, he can appear in any form. And appearing in any form, can he appear as a bug, as a butterfly, as a bee, as a snake, as a fish, as a lion, as a half lion, half man? Yeah, he can appear as anything, because that's inconceivable, right? Can he appear in a form you can't see, you can't conceive of? Yes, that's what makes, we already established. If you say no, you just defeated the point that he has inconceivable energies. If you accept he has inconceivable energy, means he can do anything and everything beyond and within your experience. So the first point Prabhupada says he can appear in any way to receive devotees' offerings. Then Prabhupada now takes the same point and says, okay, let's assume your point is correct, that God appears in a material form. So when Krishna appeared 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago, Krishna appeared in the material form. That form of Krishna is made like of matter, like you and me. So let's assumption is that's correct. And the beauty is, Krishna is very kind. You want to believe that? Krishna makes it and arranges it that that's true. So when Krishna leaves this world, he also leaves behind a material form. Just to give those people evidence to say, see, God is material. See, he left behind a form which we burnt. And they don't see everything else behind the scene. Because scripture says when Krishna left this world, all he did was he ascended to the spiritual world. And while ascending, he goes through the heavenly planets. And while he's going through heavenly planets, only few of the demigods can see him go by. Others cannot. So Krishna, and Prabhupada will tell us in the future points, he holds the right, and he has the right to reveal himself to you or not. Okay? That's his right. Everybody has a right. Just like to love all living entities is a must. But to develop a relationship with all living entities is an option. It's a choice. Okay? So Krishna loves all living beings. But to reveal himself or not, the choice, according to each individual. So now Prabhupada takes this point. Okay, so let's say Krishna is material. It's got a material form. If we accept the premise that he's got inconceivable potencies, he can change material to spiritual. And he can change spirit to matter. He can do anything. See? So in this way, matter, spirit doesn't matter. Because Krishna can do whatever he wants. And then Prabhupada goes into this form of deity. So the deity is Krishna, non-different. Can Krishna appear in any form? Yes, he appears in a deity form. It's one of the forms. Each form that Krishna appears in has a certain purpose. Okay? So for example, Krishna appears in many Shakti Vesh incarnations, empowered incarnations for specific purposes. Like a Shakti Vesh incarnation is a living entity who's empowered by Krishna's potencies for a specific service. So Vyasadeva is a Shakti Vesh incarnation. He's empowered by the writing potency, literary potency for him to write. Narad Muni, he's empowered with the bhakti potency of Krishna. He can give devotion. Srila Prabhupada was empowered with the preaching potency. So like that, different, Lord Buddha was empowered by what potency? Lord Buddha. What potency of Krishna? Cheating potency. Sankaracharya, bewildering potency, because he took Krishna and presented Krishna completely as Mayavada. That's where most people get their understanding that God cannot appear in a material form. Okay, the deity is material, the holy name is material, because the only truth is Brahman. Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. The material world is false. Brahman is the only truth. So when God incarnates, that God, where did he come from? Brahman. Because that's only truth. So when God comes, he comes into a form, but hold on, Brahman is formless. So when God takes a form, when Brahman takes a form, that form is material. See? It's temporary. When that Brahman takes the form of a deity, it's material. When that Brahman takes the form of the holy name of God, it's material. That's what they say.
I'm saying the form of the Lord, because once the Lord is, the form is never destroyed.
Yeah, that's a devotee's understanding, not the Mayavadis. Bewildering, yeah. He had to present a philosophy that's totally against bhakti. He not only cheated, he gave a poisonous philosophy, a bewildering poisonous philosophy to keep people away from contaminating the path of bhakti. So that was his service. Okay, so coming back to Archavigra. Yes.
So the specific reason that the incarnation of the Lord appeared for never gets destroyed. Does that pastime continuously go on?
Yes.
Only that form for that.
So they are generally, most incarnations are permanent. There are incarnations that just appear temporarily and then unmanifest. But majority of incarnations are permanent, which means they have a spiritual planet in the spiritual world.
So the ones that temporarily, the ones that temporarily appear and then
So Prabhupada talks about one or two. I'll have to recollect and just maybe next week I'll give you some examples. There are temporary that they only manifest just for the creation, and then they unmanifest. I'll get some examples. But most other pastimes, they have a Vaikuntha planet, they descend, and they appear. And Prabhupada gives the example. He says God appears 8,640,000,000 times. Every 8,640,000,000, only Krishna himself, right? And he only appears for 125 years. So he appears 125 years in this planet, then he goes into another planet, appears again, and appears again, and appears again. Okay, but throughout, the cycle of the creation, Krishna is appearing at every moment, every pastime, different universes.
say that that's the half the life of Brahma. They appear that of Brahma's lifespan of 50 appears directly in the middle of that.
So on the 28th cycle. Yeah. So not necessarily on like half, but generally 28th cycle, that's when Krishna appears. Okay. So the deity, so the point was Krishna appears in different features and has a certain potency, certain purpose. Lord Ramachandra appears, and he appears to re-establish guidelines, rules, and regulations, how to live, ideal principles of relationships with each other. Lord Krishna appears to present his pastimes. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears to distribute love. Lord Nrsimhadev appears to destroy the demon, Hiranyakashipu. So the deity form appears not to prove the Lord's inconceivable, unlimited potency. The deity of the Lord appears to present or to prove the Lord's accessibility. Okay, the Lord does not appear in the deity form to prove it's the Lord's unlimited potency. But the deity form appears for the Lord to prove his accessibility, which means anyone can access God. Because can anyone see the deity? So if anyone can see the deity, right, can they smell the deity? Yes. So if they can see the deity, that means they can perceive God. That's how accessible Krishna is. That's why the deity exists. When some people say, oh yeah, see, we can take your deity and we can destroy your deity. Where's your God? Now, can the deity protect itself? Of course. And there are many examples like that, right? But will the deity protect itself? Not necessarily. Because the deity didn't come to show unlimited potency. The deity came to show accessibility. Or like someone will say, oh yeah, just see, there's a fly on God. What type of God you have? Fly is on him. See? Now, can Krishna shoot a fly away? Can Krishna kill a fly? Just by thinking, can kill a fly. See? But he didn't come to kill a fly in the deity form. Krishna came in the deity form to show accessibility and to accept your service. So when you see the fly, you don't say, oh yeah, see, God is unlimited, he's got inconceivable potencies, and Krishna can take care of the fly. No, Krishna appears in the deity form so you can understand, I'm so fallen, I need to serve God, I need to shoot the fly away. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me that service. That's the reason the deity is appearing. Okay? And the deity is not different. It's not an idol. I had a Christian friend whose father was a pastor, and he was also a preacher. And we would travel together. So we would have discussion, Christian, from a Bible to Bhagavatam. And everything gelled, everything made sense, besides the deity form. Because for the Christian, that have the wrong end of the Bible, they don't accept that God appeared, deity form is there. So he brought this point up. And I knew, because the verses in the Bible, it says God cannot, they say God cannot, you cannot make, the Bible says you cannot make any image, no, do not worship any other form other than God. That's what the Bible says. You cannot worship any other form other than God. So they take it, you can't worship any other form. There's deity, you're worshiping a form. They don't understand that that deity is the form of God, and the deity is non-different from God, okay, in terms of Pram, Pratyaj, etc. So I had to explain that. So what I said was, so when he asked me the question, I said, okay, I'll think about it. So I thought about it. So then I said, okay, I said, you saw the statue, right? Yeah.
But yet they say man is made in the image of
Yeah. So God is a form. God does have a form. So I said, okay, there's a statue, right? I said, yeah. I said, so can you tell me the characteristics of statues? Do they eat? Do they move? Do they speak? Do they grow? So that's a statue. Doesn't grow, doesn't move, doesn't talk. So I said, the deity form. Does it move?
actually go on.
So he said, no. I said, yes. Does it grow? Yes, we got deities that grow. Right? Clothes get tighter. You have to, we got a Muslim tailor in Mumbai. From the time they established those deities, the Muslim tailor was making the outfits. A few years later, he comes in with his measuring tape. The temple president say, what you doing? Don't you have measurements? Says, the deity is growing. I don't know what you're feeding him. He's Muslim. So deities grow. So our statue is growing. Okay, our statues speak. Yes. Okay. Our statue can speak, can move, can grow, can eat. So if our statues can do that, then are the statues. So he said,
It's translogical.
yes, it's translogical. So then he said, that's interesting. Right? So he accepted, yes, that means it's not like our understanding of idols. So every time after that, when we would speak, and it would be a festival, so then he would say, oh, what's this? It's a festival day, Lord Nishinga's appearance day. Oh, you mean like the deity of half man, half lion? Yeah, I keep away from that category. Because he could accept, yes, that there is this potency, there is this aspect that your people have that we don't have any access to. See? But it exists. So if they're sincere, they'll accept. If they're not sincere, right, then there'll be a block and they'll not accept. So Prabhupada was making very clear, the deity form exists. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes 3 levels of seeing the deity. Jayamaya or Jadamaya, which means you see it as a statue. Jada means like a dead statue. And if you see it as a statue, it acts as a statue. Okay? Then Manomaya, a symbolic representation of the absolute truth. The Lord is formless. So we have to ascribe some form to the Lord to experience some emotion. So people think it's just symbolic. Like one time, one devotee, he was giving a class. And Prabhupada was sitting in the audience. So he was speaking about the deity. And then he said, at one point, he said, Krishna is in the deity. Prabhupada stopped him. What did you say? Krishna is in the deity. Is Krishna in the deity or is Krishna the deity? Krishna is not in the deity. Krishna is the deity. The deity is Krishna. They're non-different. See? So if you see them like this, standing there as a statue, that implies your heart is like a statue. Your heart is stone-like. Therefore, you're seeing stone. Prabhupada never saw stone. Prabhupada saw the deity is always moving, speaking, dancing. So the more our heart melts in devotion, the more the deity will reciprocate. Okay? So Manomaya is just putting symbol, like a flag. A flag is symbolic. Our national flag is symbolic to the nation. So people take that. But the real meaning should be Chinmaya, spirit, non-different from manifestation of the absolute truth. Atta Krishna, Atta Shri Krishna Namadi. Prabhupada says, when you become pure, this very Krishna, this very deity will talk to you. When you become pure.
What were the limitations of our sincerity that that one cannot see the form, the Lord, deity form? Or is that, or can one acquire that by Gyan, by knowledge? Can one cultivate sincerity by Gyan?
Your first part was?
Vision of our sincerity. That's the reason why one cannot see the.
So not necessarily our lack of sincerity. We may be sincere, but we're not ripe in devotion. Yeah. So we may be very sincere, right? But it's not sincerity that allows us to see Krishna. And Krishna doesn't reveal himself based on sincerity. Bhakti mama vijanati. Krishna says, I reveal myself when there's devotion. Krishna becomes attracted by the devotion. So our sincerity is very good, and we sincerely need to practice to mature our heart, our love, and fall in love with Krishna. So when you fall in love with Krishna, Krishna will fall in love with you. That's the only time Krishna reveals himself. Krishna is not looking for sincere souls, he's looking for lovers. Yeah, he's hungry for love. So when we fall in love with him, he'll fall in love with us. To the degree we fall in love with him, to the degree he falls in love with us. And the more we know about him, the more we'll want to love him. Yeah, that's why Sri Isopanisad is giving these aspects of Krishna so that we can remove the incorrect perceptions, incorrect understanding, incorrect logic that we have on Krishna. And once we apply this on our consciousness and practice with that, then Krishna begins to reveal himself accordingly. Okay? So, here we're getting knowledge and the proper, those proper perspectives, proper lenses to see Krishna. And then when we start applying the process of bhakti with that lens, then Krishna may, at different times give certain glimpses of the reality. Okay. So I'll give you one experience. For example, is the Bhagavatam Krishna? Yes, right? So just as you would serve Krishna, or as you would serve the Bhagavatam, or as you would serve the deity, then the reciprocation will be there. So I, would, we were giving, I was giving Bhagavatam classes every Saturday. For a few years was like that. So every Saturday we would have Bhagavatam class. And it was nice. We would recite the prayers, different verses, and then, read from the Bhagavatam. So the one time, someone told me something, right, that wasn't appropriate, and ordinarily I would have got upset. Okay, but the words went into my ears, and generally anything goes here, goes to the heart. Prabhupada gives the example: you have such a bad nose. So when you say somebody, you talk about somebody's bad nose, they get upset. What you do? Prabhupada say, why is getting upset? Why is getting emotional? Because you just spoke about his nose. So nose and emotion, no, it doesn't make sense, because emotion is generally connected to heart. So heart and emotion, not nose and emotion. So how come you got so worked up? Because when I said your nose is ugly, where did it go? Yeah. And there's a connection. So it went to the heart. So that's where it went. So the inappropriate words went in, and then they went into me, because I heard them. But then what happened was the Bhagavatam, I had a glimpse of the Bhagavatam appearing. The words go into the Bhagavatam, and then the Bhagavatam digested the words, so to speak, absorbed the words. Okay? So Krishna gave me some glimpse. Because I was serving the Bhagavatam in that way, then Krishna, in the form of the Bhagavatam, appeared, right, to protect me from not getting angry. So Krishna may share like that. Krishna may give small glimpses in different ways, which then builds faith. See, which then gives us more faith that yes, this is not false. Yeah. So like that, Krishna may, if one is sincere, and even though one may not have full devotion, Krishna may reveal. Okay, read, Glenn.
Bhagavad Gita 4:11, God says that how he treats those depends on the devotee of service. The Lord deserves the right not to reveal himself to anyone and everyone, but to show himself only to those souls who surrender unto him. Thus, for the surrendered soul, always with him, whereas for the unsurrendered soul, far, far away and cannot be approached.
Right. So Krishna has full right to reveal or not. That's his prerogative, that's his will. So if Krishna is revealing himself, means he is merciful. If he's not revealing himself, he's also merciful, because it's according to your desire. And most people, if they don't understand God, it's because they don't want to understand God. Krishna will not force himself upon you. You don't want to know God? Okay. Krishna will never stop presenting himself, coming in your life in different ways, because he knows that without him, you are, link it to Sri Isopanisad, incomplete. Yes, and without him, you're going to experience all form of incompleteness. And as a father, does he like that? No. Therefore, he's going to keep coming and presenting himself, but he will not force. He'll tell you, yeah, the doors are open, but please come. Okay?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
this is a stupid question, but if we are part and parcel of this personality of Ganesh, does he also feel complete without us?
Yes. but he does. It's not. He feels incomplete, but he's not restricted. He can still. He's still enjoying. Because remember, there are other devotees there, right? So he can't say, "Oh yeah, sorry," because Clinton is in lands. You know what to do. I'm sorry. I can't come to Rasa dance. Sorry, I'm suffering. No, because of you, he doesn't cause suffering to those who are surrendered. Yeah. So one part of him will be crying for you, and the other millions of him will be serving with the devotees. Yeah. He doesn't become crippled.
Yeah.
But Krishna does extend, he does feel for us. He feels for every living entity. That's why he comes as Lord Chaitanya.
One goes against is able to hit the Lord. Then, as you said, like the Lord will keep on appearing.
He'll keep trying, yeah. He'll never say, he'll never give up trying. Because his love is not mundane. His love is absolute. His love is spiritual. If his love is absolute and spiritual, it's not bound by time. It's not like in the material world. Yeah, you know, reciprocate me. Okay. The second I'm going for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Yeah.
That's why you can like surrender with that we surrender within a minute all our past.
Yeah.
To get the person.
Krishna doesn't keep grudges. So you learn your lesson, huh? Oh, you're coming back. Okay, no, Krishna doesn't keep. I remember you went to love somebody else. Now you want. No. Yeah. I mean, I normally give the example, right? So husband and wife, there's husband and wife, they get married, right? They're like this is the best thing, we made for each other. We are like soulmates and, everything, right? Then the one partner has another partner. How does the other partner feel? Cheated, right? And then, let's say the husband who got another wife. Then the wife finds out. What the wife is going to do? so that's the one option, right? Kill him. Okay. But if she doesn't want to kill him, get out of my life. Right? I'm not interested. Okay. So then out he goes. Okay. So because he distrusted, he broke the trust of the relationship. Naturally, she's not going to be interested. Out you go. So after a few years, let's say goes with another one and another one and another one and another one. Then he phones her again. Hey, how's it? So far I got 5, can we get together? What's she gonna say? Say, how would you? May you rot in hell. Okay? Now consider us. We have a relation with Krishna, right? Then we leave Krishna for everybody in the material world. And how many people are we loving? Billions. See? Now we come to Krishna and we say, Krishna, I want to come back. What does Krishna say? Sure. That's Krishna's heart. See? And even while we come and we say, sure, Krishna, I want to, we still, something else, right? But still Krishna says, okay, at least you came a little. Yeah. So that's Krishna's magnanimity, his love. Yeah. And the more we appreciate that of Krishna, the more we want to love such a lover. Yeah. That's why he's so lovable. Okay. That's nearly done. Then Prabhupada goes on. Okay. Prem, read.
In this connection, two words often apply to the Lord. Saguna, with quality, without quality, are very important. The word saguna, does not imply that when the Lord appears with silver quality, he must take on a material form and be subject to the laws of material nature. Him, there is no difference between the material and spiritual, because he is the source of all energy. As the controller of all energies, he cannot say at any time. He cannot at any time be under the influence as we are.
So two aspects, Sagun, Nirgun. Most people, when they say God in scripture says Krishna is nirgun, means nir, no, negation, gun, qualities. No qualities. That's how they understand it. Not the complete proper understanding. Nirgun means no modes, no material conditioning, no material qualities, no material form. So Krishna has absolutely no material qualities, no material form, no material aspects. But he is Sagun. He has unlimited qualities, spiritual qualities. Okay, so that's the point. Krishna has unlimited qualities, spiritual, but no material qualities, therefore nirgun. Even when scripture says nirrupa, no form, and then other parts of scripture says unlimited form. So people get confused. Is he walking, not walking? Far, near. Form, no form. He's both. No form meaning no material form. He is unlimited form, unlimited spiritual forms. Okay? Just like Krishna is far as Shamsundar in Goloka Vrindavan. He's near as Super Soul. Okay, so different perspective of Krishna. So that's the proper understanding. Krishna's got unlimited qualities. And even if they say, okay, God doesn't have qualities, they're contradicting what? Yes, the completeness principle. Because we just said, are there qualities in the material world? You have qualities? So how can the source not have? Here's heat and here's a fire. Right? I stand a meter away and I can experience the heat. I'm experiencing the heat. Where is that heat coming from? So if I say the fire is cold, doesn't make sense. Oh no, there's no heat in the fire. Then how are you feeling the heat if there's no heat in the fire? How can Krishna have no qualities when you got qualities and you coming from God? So there has to be qualities. But your qualities are tainted because you are under illusion, you are under Maya. Krishna is never under Maya. He is the master of Maya. Okay. And because he's the master of Maya, he's never under illusion. Prabhupada says, you and God are one. Krishna is gold and you are gold. But Krishna is gold mine and you gold ring. That's the difference.
One question. Krishna accepts Yogamaya covering and counting.
Yes.
He's still superior to Yogamaya.
So Yogamaya is perfectly in tune with Krishna's heart. He doesn't need to think. As soon as he thinks, Yogamaya is immediately doing what Krishna wants. So Yogamaya is actually non-different from Krishna's desire. Yeah, she's so fine in tune with Krishna that it's like Krishna desires it, it happens. Krishna doesn't desire it, doesn't happen. Okay? She will do whatever is for the pleasure of Krishna. Just like every devotee serving for the pleasure of Krishna, Yogamaya is only doing what is for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay? The Lord is within and without. Okay, Richam.
When the child Saint Prahlad Maharaj was in the presence of his atheist father, his father asked him, "Where is your God?" Prahlad replied that God resides everywhere. The father angrily asked whether his God was within one of the pillars of the palace. The child said yes. Once the atheist king shattered the pillar in front of him to pieces, and the Lord instantly appeared as Nishinga, the half-man, half-lion incarnation, and killed the atheist king. Thus, the Lord is within everything, and he creates everything by his different energies. Through his inconceivable powers, he can appear at any place in order to favor his sincere devotees.
Right. So in the last part of the purport, Prabhupada makes this last point, that the Lord is within and without of everything. He is in everything and is outside of everything. And the classic example is of Prahlad Maharaj. Was he in the pillar? Yes. Was he outside the pillar? Yes. Now, Prabhupada makes the point that Lord Nrsimhadev is in the pillar and he's in everything, yet he's outside everything. Even when Krishna appeared, Mother Yashoda saw in Krishna's mouth everything. Right? Which means Krishna is in the material creation and in everything, yet everything was in Krishna's mouth, which means Krishna was outside. So even though Krishna is in everything and he's in this pillar, Prabhupada is saying Prahlad Maharaj did not surrender to the pillar. He surrendered to Lord Nrsimhadev, the person in the pillar. Okay? Because that's how some people say, God is everywhere, so I don't need the temple, I don't need the deities, for me, God is everywhere. So God is my heart. I don't need to worship anyone. So even though God is everywhere, still we surrender to God. Yes.
So, Father, the atheist king, is one considered an atheist if they know about Bhagavan but do not accept him? Like Hiranyakashipu, he knew how powerful Lord Vishnu was when Hiranyasha.
So they know Vishnu, but they don't accept Vishnu as supreme.
So even a person who knows Bhagavan and knows the
No,
scripture,
they know Vishnu, they don't know Bhagavan. Because who's Bhagavan? Them. Hiranyakashipu is Bhagavan. Kamsa is Bhagavan. Vishnu is the cheater. He's taking my role. He thinks he's powerful. I'll sort him out. So that's how a demon thinks. The demon doesn't know Bhagavan.
one who reads the scriptures or one who understands, or not, well, doesn't understand, one who reads the scriptures and understands that yes, that there is a God superior to them,
But does not surrender.
Yeah, but does not accept.
Yes, he's called,
They are also atheists.
he's also an atheist. So there's an active atheist and there's a passive atheist. Okay? An active atheist is one who, by his actions, is actively showing that he's an atheist, like Hiranyakashipu. A passive atheist is one who accepts God, but doesn't, okay, so it's the other way around. So passive atheist means I don't accept God, okay, and I'm not worried. But an active atheist is someone who accepts God, but by his actions is showing that he doesn't accept God. We may get glimpses of that. So for example, I accept Krishna, right? But then behind doors, I do something wrong. Okay, so I watch a movie behind doors and nobody's watching. Hold on, what do you mean nobody's watching? Krishna is watching. See, so when I recognize Krishna is everywhere and is watching, then it immediately rectifies my behavior. That means I'm actually accepting Krishna as the supreme. Yeah, so it's not just verbal, right? But by actions, I'm accepting Krishna as the personality of God. Conclusion, the fact is, there is nothing but God within and without. Everything is a manifestation of his different energies, like heat and light emanating from fire. And in this way, there is oneness among his diverse energies. Although there is oneness, however, the Lord in his personal form still enjoys unlimitedly all the pleasures enjoyed minutely by the tiny parts and parcels living entities. So this verse is making very clear Krishna has inconceivable potencies, and therefore he can do things which are inconceivable, but he is a person, and a person with inconceivable potencies, therefore he can be far, he can be near, he can walk, he cannot walk. And we need to accept that Krishna, because of his inconceivable potencies, can do many things that we may not comprehend. But we should accept that whatever Krishna is doing in his different ways is simply for us to connect, to be accessible to him, and to be able to develop that relationship more and more, so that we ultimately completely surrender to him, and in that way regain our eternal relationship with him and be happy. Any questions or comments? Yes.
How can we make ourselves acceptable to Krishna without accepting and rejecting our or the activities and stuff that's happening with it?
So first we have to be convinced, and that may take a while. The more we become convinced gradually, the more we will accept Guru, Sadhu, Shastra as our guiding light. The less we do that, the less we accept our mind. Or the less we do, the less we surrender and become free from doubts and don't accept Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we accept our dictation of the mind. So it's basically up to us. Do we want to accept the dictation of the mind or the dictation of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra? If you accept Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, even though it may not be, perfect surrender, but at a specific point we on the path of surrender, then that is proper. Yeah, we're on the path. We can surrender immediately, as Prabhupada says, 1 second, but it's a gradual process for most people, right? So we accept it's gradual, but I'm convinced this is my path. This is my destination. This is my career. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. I should become 100% convinced of that fact. Like, I work at Electronics. Am I convinced of that? Or like I get up in the morning and I think, where I work? I think, Electronics, yeah. Okay, then no. It's like I'm convinced, right? So it's the same thing. I need to be convinced of my identity. I am a servant of Krishna. When I become convinced of that identity, I start acting. Okay. Oh, what does Krishna's servant do? He wears a dhoti. Cool, I'm wearing a dhoti. Puts on tilak. Okay, goes to the temple. So you start acting like that. And the more you do that, you're slowly molding yourself in the right direction. Even though you're not perfect, you're embracing activities of a perfect devotee. And eventually, you'll mature. Okay. Yes.
With the
Volume?
invocation,
Yes.
is that like how we say Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Is the invocation
Correct.
at the beginning of Isopanisad?
Yeah. So the invocation is not specifically part of the book, right? But it's a Paribhasa Sutra. Just like in Nectar Devotion, got a Paribhasa Sutra. So invocation is also a Paribhasa Sutra for the Sri Isopanisad. It completely encapsulates all the verses into that complete principle. Yeah.
Second question is like this: the whole premise of this is accepting the inconceivable
Mm-hmm.
potency. So, and then you also mentioned how Prabhupada would only speak to those who are intelligent.
Yes.
So if somebody is not yet at the platform of accepting this inconceivable potency, and they're not intelligent in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
then you just leave, or as you said, just shout
Yeah.
until they
Prabhupada, one time they were preaching at the college university. So they told Prabhupada, we're giving classes. Prabhupada said, no. He said, this college don't give classes. Prasad and Kirtan, that's all. They will not understand. Yeah. So Prabhupada specifically told that one college, they will not understand. You'll chase them away. See? So specifically, like Prabhupada said, Australia. Prabhupada said, Australia, prasadam. He said, open up restaurants, prasadam. So that's why Australia's got many restaurants. Different people. Prabhupada was very perceptible in that sense. So he could understand, okay, and you see when people speak to Prabhupada, he answers very particular to them because he can sense them. He knows where they are and he can able to give them. We may, try, we don't know, so we try. We speak a little philosophy, but Prabhupada said, anyone comes, they must get prasad. So even if the philosophy didn't make sense, Kirtan, they heard the holy name, prasad, definitely there. Okay. All right. So yes, last question, then we'll stop.
Sorry, so
Okay.
just one question here, just related to what you said. We always say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Now, Vasudeva is the son of his father Krishna. Instead of Vyasadeva, I love the Vedas. Who are we paying honor to? The Vyasadeva or Vasudeva?
No, if Vyasadev is totally different from Vasudev, it's totally different from Vasudev. Okay, so Vasudev, we're saying Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the son of Vasudev. And the son of Vasudev is Krishna.
Now, how,
So we're not worshipping the father, we're not worshipping Vyasadev.
why is the glorification? I love.
Where?
I mean, I'm just on an overall platform.
So remember, when they glorify Bhagavatam, they also offer honor to Vyasadev, to Saraswati, you know, the sages. So there's honor given because Vyasadev is also Krishna's incarnation. Is giving us Bhagavatam. So his mercy is coming through, and he's giving us the Bhagavatam. So we respect, we're grateful to all that are giving us access to Krishna. And Krishna becomes more pleased when we give gratitude and appreciation to those that are bringing us to him than if we directly worship him. Yeah, that's why Krishna, if we, in terms of Krishna is happy that we glorify him as the son of Vasudev, right? Or as Nanda Nandana, or as Yashoda Nandana. Krishna is very happy because he's connected to those that love him and that he loves them. Is that okay? All right. Okay, thank you very much. Next week, we will continue with verse 6, which will take us further into understanding Ishwar. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.